Hi, I'm Jen Holtz, Associate State Director for Outreach at AARP Maryland. As an extension of our spring series to support parents and caregivers of children who were home during social distancing, self isolation, and distance learning, we went on to continue the series through the summer. Our goal was to provide you with practical ideas for keeping your kids healthy and helping them to thrive during the summer months. Given the uncertainty around the opening of schools, we've decided to continue this series through the end of the year. Keep joining us over the coming weeks for our Lunch and Learn series, and please visit our website, aarp.org/MD, to learn more about the resources in our state to support you and your kids during this unprecedented time. Today, we are joined by our wonderful partner in Baltimore, our very own Baltimore City AARP Foundation Experience Corps program. Welcome, Natasha Ramberg, the director of Baltimore City Experience Corps.
Hey, Jen.
So good to see you. Natasha was our very first guest this summer, and we are so pleased to bring her back. She'll be discussing some great tips and tools for creating a learning environment for your kids that will help lead to their success under challenging circumstances, as most Maryland schools move towards some level of virtual learning. AARP Experience Corps is housed at AARP Foundation and traditionally places older adult mentors in Baltimore City schools, grades K through third, to help increase literacy rates and attendance rates. Research has shown that the benefits to both the volunteers and the students is undeniable. Natasha, thank you for being with us today. And first, can you take a little bit to talk about how Experience Corps will continue to support your students this school year, despite the fact that they will not be physically in the classroom?
Sure, and thanks again for having me, Jen. So this year, ARP Experience Corps will be virtual. We are piloting it with it's kind of a scale up. It'll be a smaller number of schools than we are normally accustomed to working with, but this is new, just like it was new for our school system and moving and pivoting. So we will be implementing a virtual component, still using our structured session, but working with students one-on-one versus in groups. And we are so excited about the possibility of what this can look like even beyond this school year, and what it will provide not only for our students, for our volunteers, but how we continue to support our school partners.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad you guys are continuing to do the great work you've been doing for years. Are you able to provide some insight as to what parents, grandparents, and caregivers of children should do to create a physical space in their home that is conducive to learning?
Yeah, so I think that if it is possible, you want to have a designated space. You know, if you have a desk or even a small table, just a place where that student kind of knows that's where I do my work. It's outside of where the TV is, it's outside of where their toys are, but it's their space and it's set up with their computer, their books, whatever they need, so that they can focus. One thing I've learned myself in this virtual, how important these guys are, having earbuds or headphones. That is, I think, a number one thing because it really does help block out distractions so that they can focus. If you don't have a designated space and they have to be in their room, then I think it's setting up rules that say from this time to this time, do not turn on the TV, you can't play with your toys, and have a little timer so that they get a break because we all need to get up and stretch. We can't be focused on our computer all the time. I know I've diagnosed myself with ADD and I start to go all over the place. So kids really have that too. So I think the number one thing is if having a designated spot that's theirs where they know that's where I go and do my work and make that be the only thing they do there.
Mhm.
I think is important. But if you don't have a space in your home that can be a designated, make it, if it's in their room, make sure to decrease the amount of distraction that will keep them from being focused. And again, having headphones or earbuds, again, because if you have lots of other people in your home, it's hard to keep that distraction down. And
Sure.
kids want to see what's going on. So these really do help.
Oh, that's great advice. Great advice. And that's a great segue into my next question. You mentioned kind of the importance of routine. So, in terms of routine and scheduling, can you talk about the importance of developing a routine for our kids during the school year?
Yeah, so I mean, it's important. Treat it like as if they were going back to school. Summer is almost over. I remember having been able to be up late and be outside, but it was like a month or 3 weeks before school started. My mom started making me go to bed at my normal time so that I could get back into the rhythm of going to bed at a certain time, getting up early and having that time. So I think that we still want to do that, even if it means your school is not meeting every day and your student does not have to be online every day with their teacher or with their tutor. It's still important to enforce that routine so that they know this is school, this is how I need to be. And they start to learn this easier for them to get to adapt to that change. How it's going to look, we don't know, right? We're still
Right.
trying to figure that out. But I think having the designated bedtime, designated dinner time, having, as I said earlier, their designated space to do their work and keeping that going and getting them back into the routine of being in school, I think is going to be really helpful because the time will come where they'll have to go back to the school
Sure.
building, right? And
Sure.
so they're going to need to have that expectation that, once they're sitting in the classroom with their teacher, the expectation and rules are going to be the same. So you want to try to set that up as early and as soon as possible, even for our little ones.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I know Experience Corps is very focused specifically on increasing literacy rates. Do you have some great resources to share to help our kids strengthen their reading skills?
It's all about the book, whatever the book you have, even if it's a book that you've read with them 10 times, keep reading it. But one of our really great partners is the Maryland Book Bank. What is
Mm,
so wonderful about them is that they give books for free. They get lots of donations at various times throughout the year, and they open it up for not only organizations like ours to come, because as part of our reading structure, we have a read aloud component, so we get many books from them to use for that. But they're open to parents and families to come and use too, especially for those families that may not have access to books. So I
mhm,
encourage families to they are online, but to look up their phone number and go there if finding a book or opportunities to read you may not have, or you may be bored, your children may be bored with the books that
mhm,
they've read. Libraries are still, they're not, I think they're open kind of limited, but you can still get books online. I
mhm.
love a great audiobook. I'm telling you, I've fallen in love with those. So, and they have them for free. If you have a library card, you can download audiobooks. You can download readable books onto your laptop, onto your smart device for free. And then there's lots and lots and lots of activities online, whether it be through Scholastic or the library, or even our schools have now put, BCPS has on their website different links for families to help. They did that first summer learning. So I just think encourage. Last time I was on with you, we talked about how your daily routine is a lesson, right? When you're
Mhm.
cooking and doing recipes and talking about how this works with that. Still
Right.
doing those small things really increase a child's literacy as well.
Absolutely. That's really interesting. And I love the fact that you're talking about both looking at the written word to help kids recognize sounds and letters, but also doing the audiobook thing just to develop an appreciation for literature.
Hmm.
Even if they're not reading it, but they're listening to it and they're appreciating the content. So that's really
Yes,
important.
we know that fluency is the learning and seeing the word, but it's also hearing how it
Yeah.
sounds. What
Yeah.
does fluent reading sound like? It's not the apple said, it's the
Hmm.
apple said go. It's
Right.
being able to bring those words together. So listening to someone read is just as important as them learning the words and putting and drawing those words together on their own.
That's great. That's great. So this is all great information, Natasha. Thank you so much. And despite the many challenges you are facing as an organization, we are incredibly grateful for all of the great work Experience Corps continues to do in the community. Your team is just really impressive.
Thank
Um, do,
you.
do you have any closing remarks for us?
Just thank you again for having, although with our pivot to the virtual, we're not actively looking and recruiting right now, because we won't need as many as we would if we were going to be in school buildings. But for those who are still interested in learning, I encourage you to reach out, to go to our Facebook page. If you want information, you can email us at joinecbaltimore@aarp.org.
Great, perfect. Well, thanks again for all you do. Please
Thank you.
continue to turn in every other Wednesday through December for tips and tools on caring for your children during this difficult time. Our next Lunch and Learn interview will take place September 9th at 12 p.m. Stay safe, everyone.